Welcome back to the channel, boys, and Happy New Year's. And hopefully, what I'm about to speak today won't take a long time, because it might take a long time, because this weapon has me confused, let's say. This weapon has me really confused, and that weapon is, of course, the Prisma lens, which I think is kind of bugged. And not bugged in a it doesn't work way, but in a it has some strange properties that aren't explained correctly way. And do you think I managed to make it work? That is the question. Do you think that I did? I won't spoil anything. So, this weapon, first of all, is not very good, to be completely honest. It does the job. It does the job, but it is frustrating the way that it does. So, what are we dealing with? We're dealing with an explosive bow that has only like 8 shots allowed. Yeah, it's just 8 shots allowed to be used at any point. But it can transfer ammunition that you get on the floor to the lens. So it has innate ammo mutation. That's very important, because that means you don't need an Exilus for this gun. You can, of course, use vigilante supplies if you want. If you want to spend the fucking adapter and you want to spend another fucking forma, because this is the forma it comes with, you can spend it and use vigilante supplies. However, even though I unlock the slot, I don't see myself putting another forma in this gun, just because it made me angry. And because I don't think this level of optimization is guaranteed for this gun. I don't think it is. Okay? This weapon legit made me kinda angry. And you'll see why. So, it's an explosive bow that kinda has infinite ammo as long as you kill enemies with it, because you need to kill enemies for them to drop ammo of any type, and then you transform it. Okay. Next interesting thing, it has a delay on the explosion. You shoot the fucking thing, the thing goes boop, and after going boop, it goes bam. So it has like 2 explosions. The first one, I think, has a force co-proc, which is interesting. And the second one has a blast explosion. This is not explained well in the stats. Because this is what it says about the radial attack. And also it has a 70% damage fall off, which I don't actually know what it means, because if it means that it only loses 30% of the damage with distance, that doesn't seem to be right. But if it means that the explosion loses 70% of the damage on the edges, then it makes absolute fucking sense, because the AoE damage is kinda low. Kinda low for my standards, at least. And it's like, again, this doesn't need to be meta for me to be making a video. This doesn't need to be a world fucking ender. This doesn't need to be the Torrid Prime. As I said in my last... Yeah, I know. It's a Torrid Incarnon, man. I fucked it up in that video, and it's gonna be the Torrid Prime from now on. Okay. So, it doesn't need to be good. It doesn't need to be that good. But it made me really angry, and you're gonna see. So this has 50% critical chance, which means we can go further than 100% with our mods. So we will be dealing orange crits, which is cool. And it has 2.8 critical multiplier, which is a lot. It's a lot, to be fair. It's really high. And 16% status, which isn't good. And it makes this weapon really inconsistent, and you will see. Also, it has impact, but it only has impact on the hit that you make to the enemies, not on the explosion. So that's kind of a bummer. So we cannot use this to create slash procs, but that is not a big problem because, of course, hunter munitions, and this is a critical weapon, it's not gonna be a problem. Although you'll see, again, I think this weapon is really inconsistent. So, you can do this, which is kind of a standard build. And I say kind of a standard build because it doesn't use aptitude or it doesn't use scope. Now, let me explain the reason why it doesn't use any of them. Aptitude, the reason it doesn't use it, real simple. I've tried it, it doesn't do enough damage. That's it. Which is really funny, because I think one of this weapon's biggest problems is its status chance. And that is part of why it makes it so inconsistent. So this supposedly would fix it, right? Because it gives you a lot of status chance and also damage. Well, at least in my testing, it doesn't work very well with this weapon. So I just don't use it. I'm not gonna lose my time showing you how pitiful it is. And scope seems like a no-brainer, right? Like, it's a lot of crit and it's a bow, so yeah, like, you just fucking shoot them in the head. Yeah, you just shoot them in the head with the bow that has a really slow travel time for the arrows, and also you have really little ammo, and it's an AoE weapon. Yeah, no. Like, you can use this, and if you're willing to hit every headshot, I would recommend you to use this, but I don't think it's a good idea. I've tried it, and yeah, you can get to red crit territory, but nah. Like, nah, man, it's not worth it. So instead of any of these two, what I've used is this, because this gives you more status chance than Galvanized Aptitude, at least at my level of modding. If I had this to level 10, it would be the same, but what it also gives you is critical damage, okay? And this gun, as I explained, has a lot of critical damage, so when you use Vital Cells plus this, you get to almost 8, which is a lot. And the other weird change that you make to this standard build, you don't use Prime Shred. You don't use Prime Shred, because you don't need the Pants Through, because it's an AoE weapon. So what do we use? Vital Acceleration. So it becomes really usable. If I had my forma correctly, I wouldn't use Vital Acceleration in this build, because I don't want to lose on the damage. I would use like this basic bitch-ass mod. Also, maybe a Vigilante Fervor, which I'm gonna try in a while. You'll see. So yeah, like, this is the build, and I hate this fucking build. And you're gonna see why. As every single standard build in this game is, this is about stacking fucking Merciless. Okay, let me show you how I stack Merciless. Not with the heavy gunners, but with the Corrupted Lancers, which are far, far weaker enemies that not many guns have trouble skilling. Four charges. I'm only at 6 charges and I have 4 ammo. Yeah, it's over. Like, I have one more shot. I have one more shot to use. And the weapon becomes not operational anymore. Is this enough in actual normal missions and not a completely unhealthy and not fair at all testing environment? Yeah. You can go to the Cuba Fortress with this shit and just kill everything. You can, absolutely can. However, I still think it's kind of disappointing. Because, yeah, let me show you what happens with the Cuba soldiers. It's gonna be far easier for this gun, like far easier. Cuba Elite Lancers, 20 of them. Steel Path, 145. This is gonna be much easier for this build. And, of course, I don't have ammo. Of course I don't. Like, of course it kills more of them. Like, of course it does. Like, that is not a big surprise, is it? Like, it's not. But still, like, this is still not ideal. Like, I'm running out of ammo in a testing environment with kinda fair enemies. So again, you would be thinking, did you fix this thing? Did you fix it? The answer is kinda. Because yes, I did fix the consistency somewhat, but I wouldn't recommend you building this thing at all. Not the weapon and not the build, unless you really, 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 really like it for some reason, which I don't. So, what did I do? So, this is gonna be kind of weird, okay? Yeah, this thing is kind of weird, and now that I saw this mod, let me just do this quick swap. Okay. So now we have the chance to enhance critical hits for primary weapons, and now I might actually just use the other forma and use Vigilante Supply so I can stack these two. Okay, but that maybe is too much. So the first thing that I've done is that I've just dropped primary Merciless, so I have upfront damage with Serration. Okay, that is the first change. But this introduces strange problems to the gun, because now we cannot fit every single thing that we need if we wanna make viral. But as you can see, I only have one elemental mod, and somehow I have viral. So, what I think is happening is that the cold from the Force Cold proc is mixing with the toxin and creating viral. However, that is really strange, because if you see in my normal build, I have 2 ticks of viral. 2. And I don't know what this means. I think it means that somehow it is creating viral with these 2 mods, but also some way, somehow, the Force Cold proc is mixing with the toxin and creating another different tick of viral, which in the case that it would become forced, so you have a forced viral proc on your bow, on your explosive bow, that would be really good. That would be really good. But it doesn't work like that. The good news is that just using one toxin mod, it becomes consistent enough, so it doesn't matter that much. Because again, like, there's some wonky shit going here. Because if you see this, it's like, okay, so you have almost 2,000 toxin and almost 200,000 blast and just 50 viral. So viral won't proc, right? This won't proc. Well, for some reason it procs most of the time, but not always. So it's not forced, but it's not following the rules of damage weighting. So I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get this build. One change that I would like to try is to format this, so I would be using the 60/60 mod for a toxin. And another weird thing about this build is that you can actually have viral plus toxin plus lash. It kinda makes it more consistent, and because we use Serration, we can use this, which is a thing that I just spent 200 plat on to try to make this gun work better. And yeah, because of this, you could even just drop Vital Sense, because this tags, and this ends up being a free Vital Sense, and it also ends up being a free Split Chamber, which is really good. And it also, because it has a forced cold proc, even though you transform it to viral, it has a for skull proc, which again, like this video is hurting my mind. Like this weapon doesn't make sense. I don't get it. But you can stack it really quickly because you have a 4 skull proc. And again, like, what can I say? Like, I don't get this weapon. I don't get this weapon. The only thing that I can say about this weapon is that this build somehow makes it more consistent, and that is about all. That is about all that I can say. And sometimes you see a red crit because of the change that I just made. And we are already at 40 stacks, and yeah, it kind of does more damage. Or at least more consistent damage. And yeah, like, you see the viral, right? Like, you see the viral. Why does it proc viral? It only has 25 viral damage. Like, I don't get it. I honestly just don't get it. I don't get the way this works. But yeah, it does. With this build, it just does. Also, of course, let me show you the harder test, which it will absolutely fail. Like, you can be absolutely sure about that. It's gonna fail, this test. But you can go to the Cuba Fortress with it, and it will be no problem. You can go to Steel Path Circuit with it, and still will not be no problem. It's just that I like my weapons to pass this test, and it's failing. And we have the stacks, so let's start just spamming this shit. Yeah, if you're insistent enough, it kills them. But let me tell you something, like, just let me tell you something. My Tigris Prime is better than this. Like, it's better than this. I'm sorry. My old-ass non-meta weapon that literally doesn't have the stats can kill these enemies with less problems. In my opinion, being more fun than this weapon. So yeah. If you like explosive bows and you're sick of the Cuba Brahma, you can get this thing and you can use my weird build. And also just a trolley thing that you can do. If you're using a Warframe that has attack speed, so you can drop this, you could use this, which will make the arcane load even faster, because it's gonna be spreading cold everywhere. Is it needed for some reason? No, it's not. No, it's not. Not needed for any reason at all. As you could see, like, just in 2 shots, we are almost reaching the tops of the arcane. You can not use this if you want. You could also drop Viral Sense and use another mod to make viral, because we already have the critical damage with this, and it's more than enough. And we also have the critical damage with this, and it's more than enough. And you could also, if you want, use Prime Cryo rounds, or just literally whatever you want. The only thing that I've learned about this weapon is that it is kind of more consistent with Serration and Primary Frostbite, that Hammer Shot becomes viable the moment where the critical multiplier is that big and you need to somehow fix the status. And that this thing has kinda, but not really, forced viral procs whenever you just use Toxin. Or something like that. And whenever I'm completely back from Christmas and my brain doesn't hurt because of a shit weapon, I'll upload another video and I'll see you there. I hope my energy levels weren't too slow for you today, because that is 100% my bad. I should stop drinking.